What if I told you the shortest war in history lasted less than the time it takes to watch an episode of The Office? Yeah, 38 minutes of chaos, cannons, and a sultan who rage quit. Let's dive right into it.
What's going on?
Wake up, mate! The war has begun, so quickly man the cannons and give them hell!
I'm excited, mate.
Here we
innit?
go.
Oh, yeah,
I hope
let's
they got
go,
a cup
mate.
of tea at the end of the hallway.
War? Oh god, okay, just give me a second, I gotta change it to my uniform and I'll be right there. Okay. Wait, what? Oh, hey Charles. Wait, why aren't you guys manning the cannons? The cannons? What are you... Oh, you mean the war? Already finished it, matey. The war is over? Yeah, mate.
Okay, this has me hyped already, like blink and you missed the entire war. That's wild. But it does make me wonder which actual wars in history were that short and why. Seems like some battles literally ended in minutes, others dragged on for centuries. So are we talking a coffee break conflict here? Or a full-blown long weekend war?
Hey, you joining this round to what? This bloke is about to wager his soul. Ah, bollocks. A deal's a deal, sir. No, wait. Can I go to bed again? Historically Facts, Part 5. Welcome to the late 19th century. And welcome to Great Britain. The land of industrial revolution, the land of economic opportunities, and the land of overcrowded cities. With many rats. You know what else Britain has many of? Colonies. How many? Very many. Approximately 22% of all of Earth's land area. It's the biggest empire that the world has ever seen.
Now that is a flex, 22% of Earth's land area. Imagine being so extra you basically collect countries like Pokemon cards. Britain in the late 19th century wasn't just tea and top hats, it was the literal end boss of empire building. But fun fact, running that many colonies was messy. Riots, revolts, rats, and railroads all happening at once. It's like managing the world's biggest group chat where everyone's angry and half of them don't even speak your language.
And within that humongous empire is a small island called Zanzibar, just off the coast of Tanzania. Zanzibar was the trade center of the Indian Ocean, connecting African, Indian, and Asian traders all in one spot. This made the island crucial for the British colonists, as it strengthened their position in the African trading world. But that wasn't the sole reason the British wanted the island. There was also slavery. No. The British didn't want to establish it, they wanted to abolish it. Around the year 1800, the British had a change of heart and decided that maybe tearing families apart and shipping them across the world to work till they die of exhaustion wasn't that humanitarian.
Zanzibar was basically the Amazon prime hub of the Indian Ocean. Everything passed through there. Spices, ivory, people. The British swooping in wasn't just about trade dominance. It was also this awkward pivot where they suddenly went, wait, slavery is bad, classic PR move, cause centuries of chaos, then brand yourself the hero for stopping it. Still, abolishing the slave trade in such a key port did shake up global commerce, like banning TikTok in the middle of Hollywood.
So, after a good old talk with abolitionists like Thomas Clarkson, Grenfell Sharp, and William Wilberforce, they decided that slaves are indeed also human, and passed a law that made it illegal to have slaves in the Great British Empire. This simultaneously resulted in a new spark in the hearts of the British people. We shall free the world of slavery and have every man, and later on maybe also women, made equal. This brings us back to Zanzibar. Turns out, just because the British quit slavery doesn't mean the local sultan and many traders settled in Zanzibar did themselves as well. And that was a problem for the British, as slavery is very inhuman and not allowed because of the British law. Now, the easy way to deal with this problem is to immediately force every trader and wealthy person on the island to give up their main source of income so the island would no longer be illegal. But that has a slight side effect of rebelling and guerrilla warfare. And we wouldn't want to somehow end up in a war, would we? This brings us to the second, less rebellious option. Admiral Harry Rawson. Admiral Rawson was the chief of command at the Cape of Good Hope station in southern Africa, which meant that he was the head of the British fleet responsible for the waters around the African countries. What if instead of making slave trading illegal, We just sent multiple ships patrolling the seas around East Africa to intercept any incoming slave ships, effectively causing slave trading to come to a halt without coming across as evil colonists. Sounds like a smart plan actually. But won't the local sultan oppose this? He would, if he could. When Britain acquired Zanzibar, it's not like they walked into the palace of the sultan and said, "Hey man, we want to set up a colony here so we can get richer. Do you consent to this very one-sided agreement?" No.
Ah yes, the British anti-slavery crusade, noble in intent but also very monopoly with warships. Instead of storming Zanzibar with bayonets, they just parked a naval squadron offshore like the world's most intimidating HOA committee. Nice trade network you've got there. Shame if someone intercepted it. Admirals like Harry Rawson basically turned abolition into a naval minigame. Smart on paper, but let's be real, telling the Sultan, "We're helping you by ruining your economy," is peak colonial doublespeak.
It went more like this. "Hey Germany." Scheiße. "Oh, Great Britain. I heard you're also trying to set up colonies in Africa." "Yes, my dear friend. And I'll tell you what. If you take this part of East Africa, I'll take this, and also this." Huh. "If you refuse, I will use my superior naval force to make your life a living hell." You know, Vas, you make an outstanding argument. Deal. Oh, hello, Sultan Hamad bin Tuwaini. I own this island now. Any objections? You sure? Okay, nice. But wait a minute. If the British seized ownership of the island, why is the Sultan still here? To once again avoid any unnecessary warfare, which we certainly wouldn't want to happen, they kept the Sultan in place to create the illusion that the Zanzibaris were still governed by their good old slave-loving Sultan. Though, in reality, he was more like a puppet of the British to control the population. As long as the local Sultan would listen to the British, nothing bad would ever happen. And he's dead. How did he die? Suddenly. AKA probably poisoned by his cousin, Khalid bin Bargash. Gosh, poisoned by a family relative? We have never seen that before in history. Alright, so the Sultan is dead, which means the British lost their puppet. Very upsetting. Not war-triggering upsetting, but still pretty bad. Time to get a new Sultan elected. Here are our two choices. We have Hamoud bin Mohammed, a pro-British anti-slavery candidate, or Khalid bin Bargash, the same dude who poisoned the previous Sultan, and not to mention, really didn't like the British.
This is straight up Game of Thrones, Colonial Edition. Britain basically speed ran the scramble for Africa with Germany like it was a monopoly board. Yeah, you get the orange properties, I'll take Boardwalk and Park Place. Cool. Then they kept a sultan around as a decorative NPC just to keep the locals calm. But of course, the guy conveniently dies. Totally not poisoned, wink. And now the British are shopping for a new puppet leader. Do you pick Mr. Friendly to Empire or Cousin Backstabber? Feels less like politics, more like a bad reality show casting.
Why did he hate the British so much? Well, when Ali bin Said, the sultan before the poisoned one died, the British, just like now, had two choices. A pro-British, anti-slavery candidate, or Prince Khalid bin Bargash. Khalid was the only son of a previous sultan, which made him a prince and, in his opinion, the successor of the throne. The British didn't think so, and favored Hamid bin Tuwaini a lot more. Khalid really didn't like that, and in response to the British denying his sultanship, stormed the palace and barricaded himself inside till the British gave him the throne. Luckily, the British managed to smooth talk their way to Khalid giving up the throne anyway, so unnecessary blood wasn't shed. But now, the same thing happened to Khalid again, and he wasn't about to let his sultanship be taken away for a second time.
I'm really loving how goofy this animation style is. It's got that mix of historical documentary, but also Saturday morning cartoon chaos. The exaggerated faces and over-the-top movements make palace coups look like slapstick comedy, which is honestly perfect for a story where poisoned cousins and stubborn princes keep throwing tantrums over the throne.
So, after hearing the British favored Hamoud bin Mohammed over him, he once again, though now with over 3,000 men and women, stormed the palace and locked themselves inside. The British initially tried to once again sweet-talk Khalid into leaving the palace, but Khalid had enough of the British and flat out ignored them this time. This was extremely problematic for the colonizer, as they had to get a sultan in power that aligned with their ideals. After asking Khalid to leave again, presumably now with a bouquet of flowers, the British turned back to Admiral Harry Rawson.
So, yes, sir. This bloke in the palace is not getting out. You think maybe you could somehow convince him to leave? Yeah, no worries, mate. I got you. I'll be right there first thing in the morning, and for no reason whatsoever, please evacuate all British citizens and merchants from the island, okay? See you tomorrow.
This is where the "oh no, we tried" diplomacy mask drops. They send Admiral Rawson in like a dad showing up to fix the Wi-Fi, except his solution is literally cannons. The whole "please evacuate all British citizens," totally unrelated, is hilarious because that's colonial code for "we're about to blow something up." It's less negotiation, more kindly step aside while we uninstall your sultan with artillery.
Oi mate, my name is Harry, and those are my 5 ships. We give you 1 final hour to leave, or we will do it the good old-fashioned way, alright? Whereas Khalid responded, and I quote, "We have no intentions of leaving, and we do not believe you would open fire on us." Oh, I'm not sure if we should call our claims a bluff, mate. 1 final hour. Do not be a hero.
So back to his ships Harry went, waiting for Khalid and his 3,000 supporters to leave the palace. But as time grew closer to 9 AM, there were no signs of surrendering. Instead, the British noticed the Zanzibari rebels manned the one shore battery they had, and that a Zanzibari warship began to position itself within the formation of the 5 ships. Very questionable behavior. I sure wonder why they are doing that.
This is pure "don't call my bluff" energy, except the British had 5 steel warships and Zanzibar had, what, a shore cannon and 1 lonely boat? It's like bringing a Nerf gun to face the Death Star. Khalid thinking they wouldn't fire is almost endearing. Like, bro, these are Victorians, they'll declare war over a teacup. And seeing that one Zanzibari ship trying to casually blend into the formation, that's the nautical equivalent of hiding behind the couch cushions.
Oh hey, would you look at the time? It's time for... The gunboats Raccoon, Thrush and Sparrow simultaneously opened fire at the palace, where Thrush's first shot immediately destroyed the only manned shore battery they had. Even though the 3,000 supporters heavily fortified themselves in the palace, the British high-explosive shells obliterated the barricades and caused massive fires throughout the palace, trapping thousands of supporters in the toxic smoke. At 9 AM, so 3 minutes after the shelling started, the only warship of the Zanzibaris started to lay fire onto the big cruiser that Admiral Rawson was on. However, due to the very outdated weaponry and questionable battle ethics, they didn't even manage to create a dent in the ship's hull. The St. George laid fire back and sunk the enemy ship in approximately 4 shots. For some reason, a couple minutes later, 2 small steam launches came to try to take down Thrush, but they did it with rifles? What? Needless to say, they were disposed of really quickly as well. And that was all the naval defenses that the Zanzibaris had.
This has to be one of history's most lopsided boss fights. The British rolled in with gunboats named after birds, Raccoon, Thrush, Sparrow, and still managed to unleash absolute carnage. Zanzibar's defenses? A single shore battery, 1 antique warship, and guys in steam launches firing rifles at cruisers. That's not warfare, that's cosplay. The fact that the St. George sank their ship in 4 shots makes it feel less like a battle and more like target practice at a carnival booth.
What followed was 30 minutes of over 500 high-explosive shells continuously fired upon the palace, till one brave Zanzibari climbed up to the roof to take down the rebellers' flag. And then the war ended. Yep, the entire war, the shortest war in history, ended in just 38 minutes. With over 500 casualties on the Zanzibari side, and only 1 sailor hurt on the British side, presumably by accidentally dropping a shell on his own foot. In the end, the Anglo-Zanzibar War was the shortest and one of the most one-sided wars in our entire history. Wait a minute, what happened to Khalid? Well, he ran off. 5 minutes into the shelling, he just left with his rich buddies and sought refuge at the German embassy, leaving his thousands of supporters to die in the palace. Bro, uncool.
Wow, That is just so uncool. Khalid dips out 5 minutes in while thousands of his own supporters get obliterated. That's not leadership. That's rage quitting a multiplayer match and leaving your team to get spawn camped.
After the war, Khalid fled to the German side of Africa, where he continued to live an easy life. Till he got captured by the Allies, who were liberating and possibly trying to take more for themselves in Africa from the Germans in World War I, and got sent to exile to the same island that they sent Napoleon to, where Khalid wrote and sent dozens of personal letters to Churchill, begging to be sent home. Whereas the Sigger man responded by sending him to Kenya, where he died. Epic troll. Anyway, 20 minutes after the war ended, Hamud bin Mohammed ascended to become a sultan, and slavery was forever abolished in Zanzibar. This is the bizarre 38 minutes war that caused way too many deaths.
And that's how the shortest war in human history wrapped up. Not with glory, but with one guy rage quitting to the German embassy, another becoming sultan in under half an hour, and slavery finally ending on the island. It's wild to think how 38 minutes of cannon fire reshaped an entire region's future. Historically, really nailed this one, balancing sharp research with that simple, goofy animation style. Links in the description if you want the full chaos. As for what's next, let's just say it involves another very unexpected twist. Stay nerdy.